Hello, everybody. Welcome in. I'm here on this momentous occasion. This is The Bunker, and we are live, folks. And today we have a very special topic, and it's so monumental, and it's so important that I couldn't do it alone, right? I had to have some help. And so I called in the world's expert on opening a brand new CRT shop, like the genius of them all. I hope you all will give a huge welcome to my good friend, Mr. Zez Retro himself, Lewis.
Yes, I am the expert. Thank you for that accurate description, Steve. 100% in line with my experiences in life. I've run numerous CRT shops before. Big ones, too. Multi-level ones. So I'm going to hear and give you my experience from just years in the trade, mate. Years in the trade.
Yes, there you hear it, folks. So welcome in today. And please, look, you all out there, you know the routine. Do me a huge favor. If you're coming in and you're just getting started on the show, do us all a favor and hit the like button. I'm always blown away by how many likes this show gets. It is so awesome. Every like turns into like 10 views on average on this live show. So it's always balances out, and I always love the fact that people react to it, and if they enjoy it, If it sucks, you can hit the down button.
You're doing great, man. Every day you're doing this is not every day, but you're doing this so often. Consistency. This is my rule for any artist. Consistency, right? And that's what you've been doing, and you're seeing there's not a special formula to this. Just do it all the time, and you'll get better, and you'll get more followers. It's exactly what's happened to you, Steve. Good work.
Oh, thanks. Well, I hope I bring something unique to the table for this illustrious 11 a.m. Middle of the day time slot that every media company. I mean, we'll make this show last longer than the Ellen DeGeneres show, baby. There we go. So,
hey, look, you're on the air, and Drew Barrymore isn't. All right. So, who's the biggest star?
Yes, star? Of course. What a joke, poor Drew. All right, guys. So, I do want to do some shout outs to some people. First off, I have the most special shout out to give, and it's to my good friend. You see him there with the wrench by his name, Mr. Belmont. I have to say, huge, absolutely monumental thank you to Belmont. He sent me a care package that arrived yesterday that was just awesome. And it was this Super Famicom Nintendo that he had fully recapped. And it's unbelievable, how beautiful this thing is. It's the cleanest retro console I have. And I think he got a super deal on it. And he's like, I don't need it, and I would love to send it to you. And I said, awesome, because I don't have one. And
Dude, that's what so I'm nice. So that's a Japanese one, is it?
Yes, it is. It's the Japanese one, thankfully. So that's the good one too. So that's actually what's hooked up over here, and I can give you all a lovely shot of what that looks like. Let me make sure I hit the
shot that. By the way, Steve, just throwing some low-key shade on PAL there. By the way, oh no, NTSC, that's the good one.
There we go. There we go. So yeah, everybody, give Belmont a high five in the chat. He's there.
Yes.
Everybody, see that.
Hold on 1 second. I will get the aforementioned PAL. Let's have a little bit of a comparison.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So again, thanks for everybody who's coming in today. You're looking at that amazing thing. And look, this is actually running an NTSC. What you see on your screen right now is running an NTSC. Hang on, Lewis. I'm running it on. I've got the PVM going.
Oh, go. Oh, yes.
You can see it on your screen live. That is actually NTSC video in composite, because this PVM only does composite. So that's a good example. Let's take a look at what Lewis has found in his wares of wonders.
On my shelf, I've got a PAL Super Nintendo, so it's hard to do a little.
Okay.
So yeah, basically the same. So I think does it say you have Super Nintendo? You have that same writing there?
No, it says Nintendo and then Super Famicom.
Okay.
So that's really the only difference, it looks like.
Right. Yeah, I've got PAL version written on there, and then the plugs are the same. Although I think actually, when I say the plugs are the same, I actually think the power, from memory, the power cable is different. for the PAL and NTSC ones. So you got to watch out. You got to watch the Firebrand X power supply page. Will give you all that info. But yes, this is what I grew up with. This is what what my friend had. You know that thing you always, your buddy had one and you wish you did. My buddy had one of these beautiful rounded edges, and that's also what the Japanese grew up. So what's your opinion, Steve? Now you've finally seen one in the flesh.
I mean, I absolutely love it. Like the design of it, and it's almost like a mix between what we got with that later console, which I use now, that little mini. Like you can see Cole back here. Anyway, I got this, it's a mix between that and the regular, like original one to me. I love the bigger buttons. I love that it has the built-in power LED light, and it feels like a perfect console from that era, and I'm really happy to finally get one.
Very nice. Actually, and Belmont was asking me about this one. Where did I get this one? This one actually is an OG from my friend. My friend Tim, he's this big Irish guy, lives here in Thailand. He's a good buddy of mine. And this is his one back in the day in Ireland that he had, and he brought it over for me and donated to me. And I think back there where I'm kind of pointing up on the shelf, there's a copy of Return of the Jedi, his original boxed copy. So I appreciate my friend donating to
Excellent.
the cause.
Cool. So we got whoops. So yeah, we got the Super Nintendos / Super Famicom's going. Sorry about that, folks.
Baby.
And so first off, yesterday's stream, before we get too far into this stuff and we get into our main topic, because, hey, you guys know how it goes. We got to let that fire burn. We got to let the show get going so people realize it's on. Normally I'm on Mondays or Tuesdays and then Thursdays. Well, it's Wednesday, so it's a different day. But thank you, everybody, for coming in. Please continue to hit the like button so that more people get notifications. And as we get ready to talk about the CRT shop that's going to be open this weekend and the plan going forward, we need to talk about some house cleaning stuff, maybe a little bit. So yesterday I did a crazy stream on a Toshiba, and it really just became an old angry man yelling at a Toshiba with a generic remote. And so I felt like it was a little bit of a low quality stream. I don't think the audience did. I think a lot of people were just laughing at me and thought that was fun. So if that's what it was, I'm totally cool with that. So I never really know how this show goes sometimes, but I wanted to give everybody the idea that I didn't, that was really a live show. And also my daughter, I did, live. I got the call that she was sick, but thankfully she's doing better. It was just a small thing. And so, but anyway, it was live. So just to give a little housekeeping on that. But beyond that, I want to say what's been up with Zez. Let's hear a story. Let's hear a story from Zez. I'd like to hear where he's been, and I'd also like to hear. He says he has a good story for me, so let's let the audience get warmed up with some good stuff here.
Okay, I'm going to put it out to an audience vote first. So in the chat, please, write in the chat. I have two stories I can tell today. Do you want to hear the story about how Lewis bought and hauled the wrong Extron scaler back from Japan? Do you want to hear the Extron scaler story? Or do you want to hear about how I got scammed on Facebook Marketplace today? Put your comments into the live chat.
Yeah, while people are, let's let some comments come in. I'm going to do some shout outs to people early in the chat because I always like to do that for some people. So while we do that, please answer which one you hear. I know which one I would pick out of the two. I'm not going to influence it, though. I'm going to let you guys drop that in the chat. What would you just write? Scam or Extron? Whatever you want. You could type Extron or scan. Or if you just want the Extron, you could type an X, okay? If you really just have the ability to only type one letter. All right, so Mega Cards, Pesadillo, thank you for coming. NDPX, hello. Self-elected, welcome back. Brian Harmon, welcome back. Also, hey, Tony Escobar, welcome back to Stupid Ugly. There we go. Dwight Dixon, there we go. We're getting them right. We're getting better. Wags Mike, welcome in. Roll Pats, always good to see you here. Becky Hammer 644, welcome in today. Jimmy Joe McGurl, and we're almost caught up, man. Snuffer Stuffer, Zero Sleep. We got the usual crowd of amazing people here. Belmont, thank you again, and thank you for being here in the chat. keeping things held down. Daniel Gonzalez, welcome in. And let's see if we got any votes. Mark Subtle, welcome in. Shane, hey, how you doing? And Bakihama, already got you. All right, Abe's Games, and Skates, wake up, unloved
Love
homie.
it.
Mick, Hyper Sam, Shane. I think I got Demon 20 Child. Yeah, we got it. We got everybody just about. Professor Womb. He said he's been watching the videos on demand for a while, and this is the first live stream, so that's awesome. We love to have a good chat going.
Well, Steve, it's Professor Whom, not Professor Womb. I was like, holy shit, who is this, Professor Womb? It's like Whom. Gotcha. Good.
Yeah, see, that's what I do all the time. I can't remember. There was somebody that I was like, it was really bad, had the way I'd put it. So I won't even remind everybody, but I've done some really bad name shout outs before. Thankfully nothing really bad like Ron Burgundy style, but I don't read everything on the teleprompter here. But anyway, so I just got a vote for the scam from Abe, so no one else is chiming in on that one, but let's...
No, I saw there's quite a bit. There's
there
quite
is.
a few.
Oh yeah, scam. Oh yeah, I hear it.
Scam. No, Steve's just used to seeing scam anytime he's trying to sell shit online. Scam.
Hey, if anybody just showed up to the stream and it says, should I open a CRT shop? And they look at the chat and it just says scam. That's so awesome. They're like, I knew it. I knew this guy was a scammer. What can I say? You caught me today.
We got it. Okay, we'll do this. Story happened to me just today. I posted on Twitter a couple of days ago. I love light guns. I really I like any control. I like weird controllers. I like big controllers. I love fight sticks. I really love light guns, and I'm almost complete with my light gun collection of like all the relevant light guns that you can have. And there were two. I was testing like CRT light guns on the Saturn, but also looking at how the Wii works and the PlayStation 3 with their like motion control adapters. And there's two controllers I don't have for the PS3. One is the sharpshooter, which is like a big gun. Like it seems like a weapon. And you mount the PS Move controller. You know the PS Move controller? That's the one that looks like a vibrator. It's got the big...
It's got the ball.
On the head.
The ball head.
The ball on the end. Yeah. So... the sharpshooter is I think it was gray in North America. You put the Move controller into it, and then you can, hold it like that, and it looks super dope. The power one is red, so I was keen to do that. Also, there's another light gun which can be used on PS3. Only PS4, I think, which is the AIM. That's the big white one. That's sort of this white triangle, and it's got a Move built into it, so you don't have to plug the Move in. It's a whole unit, and I think it's got the DualShock mechanics in there as well. And I wanted to get this because I got House of the Dead remake on PlayStation 4, and I was trying to use the Move controller, and it's dog shit. It's really bad. The Move controller is great on PS3, really bad on PS4. I think it's not doing the right thing, and I got some info. I read some stuff that maybe this AIM controller, the big white AIM controller, would be better. So I wanted to get this stuff. So there's not that many here locally. I found a guy who on the marketplace had a bunch of stuff, and he had both of these, 35 euros each. And that's like a reasonable price each. So it wasn't like super low. So I wrote to Facebook Marketplace, said, I'll have both of them. Can you put it in the parcel delivery? It's very normal. So in Estonia, a small country, we all trust one another. So it's really normal that the guy just gives you his bank account, his name, and you just do a direct deposit. Like, we don't have Venmo. We're too small for that. And I told him to send it to my local my parcel order machine, like just in the shopping center across the road, in the mall across the road. It's really normal. That is how most Facebook transactions go around here, unless you're meeting them. Real normal stuff. So I got it. I paid him yesterday. I got my SMS. I'm going to make a delivery. And I got the package. And here's the package that I got from the guy.
Yeah.
It's a little bit smaller than I expected, but not too small. So I'm like, what's up? So So I open it up, and there's stuff inside, right? And I'm a bit confused at first. So
What
there's
the
a
heck?
PlayStation. There's a PlayStation. I didn't order this. There's a PlayStation 3 controller. I'm like, okay, and that's a real one. That's genuine. Cool. Some PlayStation 3 games, cables.
Wait
Indiana Jones.
a second. Was that hockey manual just laid, or that hockey like label for that hockey game just laid in there too?
You're right. Right. It's without the case. There's this. There's a disc.
That is so weird. Wait. What else is in there?
What's in here is a whole fucking PlayStation 3. So it's not in the best condition. I'll give you that.
Look at this. Yeah,
So
you
it's pretty
did.
rough.
You sure you didn't enter like a loot box for this? That's what Belmont's thinking. Did you pay
No,
for
for
a
sure,
draw?
sure.
No, just kidding.
Nah. This is so it's pretty. That panel. That must be that panel there. Okay. And this is. I mean, it's pretty rough shape, and I haven't fired it up yet to know.
Holy shit.
So I immediately thought, like, it's packed well. And my first thought is, if you're going to do a scam, why are you even sending me something? Just fuck off
No,
and-
that's
and
so awesome. Like,
don't do anything.
I can't. First off, that's incredible. So you open it up and you're like, what the? Did you try to message the guy back?
So I messaged the guy back, and I go there, and it says, message not sending, message not sending.
Oh.
The dude's blocked me.
Of course. So he knew what he was doing.
I'm blocked on his Facebook. I asked my friend, I said, hey, can you check this profile? Not blocked. So the dude just sends you some random shit and then blocks you.
Yeah, I don't understand. What is it? Why even send? Wow. Why even send anything?
I have no idea. That's why I thought it was a mistake. I'm like, I'm going to
Yeah, mistake.
Like, the guy probably lives like 25 minutes to drive probably to get there. So I'm like, I'm going to have to go drive out, see him, fucking return it, but all right.
How much was it?
Well, all up, 84 euros. Because it was 2 controllers, and then I ordered a couple of the random bits and pieces that he had, and then 4 for the... So it's like on that amount of money that I'm annoyed. Like, I'm not gonna die, but I'm a bit annoyed. It's a little bit more than throwaway money, but still not the worst. So yeah, this dude's blocked me, and now I don't know what to do. I'm thinking of what my options are. So here's what I know about the guy. I know the suburb he lives in because I could see where the package was sent from. I don't see his phone number. I know his name, and I know his bank account number. And the reason I know it's his actual name is because, like, that's the name on the bank account. In Estonia, to make a transfer to a bank account, you need the number and the person's name. Otherwise, it doesn't go through. So this has to be the dude's name. The guy's name is Kalle Suk.
Oh,
So
well,
he's a
yeah.
Suk. S-U-K-K, Kalle Suk.
Well,
Kalle's a pretty regular
so
Estonian
yeah,
name.
I don't know. Like, I'm a little bit torn with this because he put some effort, but it is a weird scam. Yeah, don't worry, guys. We haven't gotten to the main topic. We're still burning a little time here on the front end.
We're getting there.
So, but yeah,
So I'm not.
go ahead.
So I'm thinking of what to do. I've got now with my new job where I'm working with members of the military. Turns out I'm also working with former police officers and members of the police force. So I will turn to some of my buddies and just ask, hey, what's up? Because the thing is, Estonia's too small. I know the guy's name. I can basically work out his family tree from his name. I can certainly go down to the local police station in that suburb and be like, yo, this guy, like, he's not like a random person. That they can punch his name in and see everything about him. So I'm still not sure what I'm going to do. I should probably fire up the PlayStation and see if it works or not, at least.
You want to do that now? Or soon? Is it even able?
Soon. I'll do it. Yeah. I mean,
No, you don't have to do it right now, but that's...
I won't do it right now, but...
Yeah, that's
I
pretty
don't
cool.
have one of these late model.
Oh my gosh, that thing is
It's
so
got a-
rough. It looks like he probably
super
took something out of it. Or tried to take it apart.
Yeah. Is there a hard disk? Let's see. Wait.
So... Here's what this actually got me thinking. How awesome would this be an idea for this? What if there was like a shitty gift box idea where you could send people like it was advertised as a loot crate, and it came like this. Like, you got a box full. Like, how funny would that kind of be if it was kind of expected to do that?
So it's got a hard drive in it, and wait, I can't. It doesn't want to track. There you go. But that's certainly not the original.
Oh, it's a Western Digital, baby.
It's a WD 360. Where does it say 330? Wait, I can't even. God, I don't even see what size this is. I presume it's only like 250 gigabytes. Okay, so it's got a Western Digital 250 gigabytes drive in there. Certainly not SSD, but okay. At least he didn't take that out. Cool.
I mean, the real deal is that you got that amazing hockey game, right? Not even a plastic case. Like, this guy just literally tossed a bunch of crap from a PlayStation 3 bundle he got. Yeah, call it the shit crate. There you go.
So what do you guys think in the chat? What should I do? I mean, if I go to the police, I'm going to drive
Tell
20
his grandma.
minutes out there, sit in the police.
It's probably his living with his grandma. Hey, what if the disc had like millions of crypto on it? That's hilarious. Zero Sleep. That would be. Oh my gosh. Oh, this is just like an onion. You pull back a layer and it's like, whoa, smelly and more interesting.
So I don't know. What do you reckon in the chat? Let's say it's going to take me 3 hours of my time. By the time, I drive out there, whatever, you wait the police station.
No way.
Is it worth 3 hours of my time to go and report this dude? What do you think in the chat? Sound off.
Yeah, what do you think of the chat? I'm going to say no way because, like, at least you got something. If it was nothing, you got nothing, I might be more pissed about it. But the whole funny thing about it lightens the scam a little bit. And the idea of going and spending, like, hours of effort to try to do what? Recover an $84 transaction is...
Now,
or 84 euros, which is about $100 probably.
It's about the same. Now, what Professor Whoom says is the light guns, which is an excellent point. I just want the light guns.
That's
but
true.
I suspect he doesn't have them. Like,
yeah, he's running some third level freaking mind game light gun scam out on the internet, and he got busted on his honey hole.
Right. So now the next question then becomes: if I can't be screwed doing 3 hours, of all that, what can I do to mess with this guy? And this is where my police friends are going to come in. So I'm going to ask them a little bit. What can we do? What can I do to mess with him? What can I do to sort of make him think like something's up? So I'll give you the updates in the next stream. What advice I get?
Excellent. Yeah. Well, yeah, I like that story. That's not the worst scam. I could give you a good little story to go with that about not getting what you're expecting in a box. One of the crazy when I was in high school, we've talked about some of this. There's everybody wants you to troll him. So anyway, yeah. So there was a guy at a shoe store I worked at. This was a big shoe store in like the 90s. It was in the United States. It was called Just for Feet. So inventive, right? A gigantic warehouse style shoe store. And their big claim to fame, when you walked in, there was always a half-court basketball court inside the store. So there would just be people, you go in there and play basketball if you wanted, get some shoes. And I worked there as a high school student. And I remember coming in, and one of the old veteran guys, which he was like 18, leaving, and he was like the cool guy at the shoe place. And, well, we didn't find this out. So I was getting trained. I met this guy. Then I worked there for a while. Then he left, and we would still see him because he was cool. We thought we'd see him out at the town, hang out, drink a couple beers, and he'd tell us these stories because we were still working at the shoe store. And he's like, so has anybody found a shit box yet? And we were like, what the hell's a shit box? And he's like, oh, I guess nobody's found one of my shit boxes. And we're like, oh God, no, please, Casey. What the hell is a shit box? And he says, well, that week before, I got really mad that week before I left. They kind of treated me wrong and treated me like a jerk. And we said, yeah, we remember. And they said, well, I went around every time I had to take a crap. I went in the back warehouse and I took a dump in a shoebox on top of a pair of shoes, put the shoebox back and put it in the back in its spot. And it was like he would pick random shoes that people normally would not buy. So here's the thing with Just for Feet. It had, like, you would walk in and there would be one shoe on the wall of, no joke, at least 500 shoes. Okay? But out of all those 500 shoes, maybe 10 of them were shoes people wanted. Like, they were either common or they were the ones people bought. They were the ones people bought. The other 90% were just basically filler crap that one person out of 1,000 would come in and ask for. And then the funny thing was too, is you never had the people's size in anything. You'd come in there and sorry, I don't have your size in that, whatever you want. And then that's when they'd go to the selection of 90% other and say, give me that one in my size. And that's when you might get hit with a turd box. So, I mean, we never, like, I personally never got hit with a turd box, but I did have one of the 3 friends of ours did grab a shoebox, and thankfully he was like, this lady had asked for 3 shoes. We finally had one in her size, and it was this like goofy ass New Balance wide foot shoe that was like one that had been sitting there for 3 years untouched. And he said, I take it out. He said, I didn't even open it first, and I opened it, and there was like this decayed like cigar turd on the shoes. And he said he just put them back and he said, sorry, man, we don't actually have that size in stock. And he just played it off because he knew about the turd story. But, you know, there was turds there. And look, you know, it didn't. So the reason it wouldn't smell is it was a gigantic warehouse. So imagine taking a shit and putting it in a shoebox and putting it in the back of a warehouse. Okay. Nothing smelt because, like, you would literally have to take a shit on the floor in the middle, and it might smell for a while, but it's so large it would dissipate. Anyway, I hope we didn't just like lewdly run off everybody in the audience there with my poop box.
No, this is great. I've got a few more questions, but if we could still go on with a poop topic.
Yeah.
So was he was opening a box, was he pooping directly into the shoebox or pooping somewhere else and then adding the poop in?
No, it was pooping directly into the box.
Course, directly in. All right. Hope he wasn't wiping his bum with that like tissue paper that's in the
shoebox.
Oh
yeah, right. Oh my gosh, science, baby. That's right. Zero sleep. Name of science. Well, so there was another. I could tell you another really quick story. So I worked there a couple years, and eventually, all my buddies, we kind of fell out of love with the place. And you know, you work there a couple while with your friends, and you're like, let's get the hell out of here. We went to a sub shop, and all worked there. So we
sub shop.
Yeah,
Subway?
But yeah, it was kind of like that. It was called Jersey Mike's, which is similar to that. But when we were leaving, it was this very old computer system because this is the late 1990s, and like they had this whole inventory system, but it's run from a 90s computer, right? Tower computer hooked up to a telephone internet. And there's one this one guy was such a dick and a weirdo. He was chubby and he was like always a creep to everybody. And his job was like the warehouse manager. He would sit back there in this office and he said he was like checking inventory on his computer. Well, he apparently would get back there and start looking at early 90s porn. And he downloaded this crazy virus that infected every computer on the freaking Just for Feet, the whole building, like all of them, even like the ones that were running the cashiers, and freaked out. And like he basically got busted. And his story, when they were telling him he was fired, he said that me and this other guy who worked there, who he hated, like we used to like bust his chops because he couldn't fire us, but he was such a dick, and we didn't really care about the job that we would always just make fun of him. And he really hated the both of us. So he said that we scaled a wall in the warehouse, broke through a vent, came down into his office, and downloaded the porn onto his computer to sabotage him. And yes. The only way we knew about this is because the general manager thought it was so funny that he had entertained the guy and asked him to come and asked us to come up and just asked us straight up. He told us that story and asked us yes or no if we did it. And we were just like, no, we didn't do that. And he was like, okay. And that was it. And they took the guy. He was gone. That was the last time I saw him.
Sure. Hey, you know those other two guys? They're secretly Navy SEALs. Just want to let you know. Don't know if you know. They're secretly able to pull off black ops operations. They're going in through there. Like Bruce Willis crawling through
a couple
corridors.
Teenagers.
Yeah.
We are, yeah. The funny thing was the other guy who was actually accused did go over to Iraq and was like a hardcore Marine for a long time.
Right.
And he actually rebuilds engines. That's pretty funny. All right. Well, guys, we've been going for a while. I mean, we got 30 minutes in. Sorry to stall everybody. That's a little longer than usual. I think we probably got the max amount of people here. But if not, and you have not already, please do us a favor. Hit the like button. Because
We're doing great.
It will help.
Listen to the story. Steve and I haven't caught up for a while, so we got to, let it out.
Yeah, we kind of just jumped on here together. It's been such a long time, Lewis, with his new amazing business he's been building. But, when you build things new like that, it takes a lot of time and dedication, and that's good. So
it does a little bit. But it's just also, finding that time. So I'm happy. I don't care. We do it on my channel, your channel. I don't care where we are, as long as we talk. So let's do it.
Okay, so now we're going to get into the main topic. So this is the main topic. I will put a timestamp below for anybody who comes in and it's like, where's the main topic? It'll be timestamped below as usual. And it's about 31 minutes into the stream. And the main topic is my CRT store idea, my CRT store that's coming, and should I open it? And what do you guys think? What does Lewis think? And so we can kind of go from there.
I think, Steve, first of all, you need to explain your idea. Okay. We've fallen for the clickbait. Walk us through what your concept is.
Yeah, I could give you my idea because it's actually happening this weekend. I'm getting ready to leave for an expo. It's the Music City Multicon. It's the one I've done just about every year where I give a presentation. Only one I give a presentation on. And I'm going there, and, they really will hook me up with anything I want. So they said, I could get a booth in the CRT area, right? Which I had last year. You saw the videos of that where I had the CRT Paradise. Those are those videos. And so this year I was like, I'm trying to clear up some more space in this shop and get rid of things that have just been sitting here, like personal items that are CRTs that I don't really use, that would be better off going to somebody in a better home. I clean them up. And I was like, so this is what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to go to this show. Normally, I just sit there, and it's more like a promotional thing. I don't actually try to sell anything. I try to relax, and I'll have CRTs there, but I'll also give the presentation and do more like awareness stuff, raise awareness. But this year, I'm bringing these 5 CRTs that I've worked on, and I'm going to set them up to sell at this show. And so I'm going to have literally the booth where I'm selling CRTs. And so that's what, the temporary thing is happening. But that's pretty much the one-time deal. So I want to see how, I'm going to get some idea of exactly how that works out, if that's worth anything right away this weekend.
Okay, so you're hoping that at the expo, at the convention, you can shift a couple of sets, get some idea about how people are buying them. So because that's a thing, that people are coming there, and then they're going to walk home with that set, which is a little bit of a different idea. Have I understood correctly?
Yeah. And kind of to make it easier, all the sets, there's 3 13-inch sets. The biggest one is a JVC 20-inch D series, and that's obviously the nicest one. And then there's one 8-inch, which is this PVM right here. And just to give you an idea, this PVM is actually going to be, it's 8-inch PVM. It's actually got the high resolution tube on it. So this is like the 400 plus line tube on the 8-inch PVM. It looks amazing here on your screen.
That's very good on an 8-inch PVM.
And it's, again, this is composite video. You're seeing this. And this is going to get sent away to somebody. I mean, somebody's going to get this for $10. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have a raffle for it, where I'm just going to sell tickets for $10, and I'm going to have a limited number of raffle tickets, and hopefully that will get some hype as the weekend goes, to finish off with a drawing where somebody will get this PVM for $10, with a power cord, with the inputs it needs to just put in composite, everything it needs to go. It's been serviced. It's not been recapped. It's been serviced though, and like calibrated. It runs for hours. Has no problems. Low hours. It's just older. Super clean.
Can you tell us? Can you tell us what is the original cost of that unit?
Well, this one would have been the more expensive unit, but it's from 1988, and this was like as good of an input as they had really in 1988 for the standard on these. So it would be really a guess. It's about $600 a normal back in that day period. So $500, $600.
Because someone here in the chat earlier was asking how much about do these 8 inches go for? He was saying he's looking for a deal. So it just kind of ties into this. So let's say I wanted to get that, like, also I'm getting for, you're selling me that $10 a ticket. How many tickets do you have to buy to make it worth your while?
Right. So my idea is I hope I can at least sell 20 tickets. And then, like, if I hit 20 really fast, I probably will then cap it, like limit it to maybe a maximum of 30 total tickets. And unless I come up with like a charity idea that goes over that and give it away or something, if it really took off or something. And so but that's the one thing. This $10 again, it's so here's the cool thing about this one, actually, Lewis. This one is it has the same tube that goes in those other 8-inch ones. So if you literally found a 8044 or the one of the high resolution PVMs that's later on down the line, like that has a screen burned in, you can usually find those with a bad tube or screen burned in America for cheaper, less than $100. And you could put this tube in there if you wanted to, and you would have a fully functional like $800 8-inch PVM that's the best that there is because it has the higher line tube count and it's the same tube. So that's really the big sacrifice for me is I've got a working PVM here, but I've also got a tube that's worth more in parts than really the monitor almost is. The tube is. It's funny. So
this is the first. So you're going to do this raffle at the thing, and this generates a bit of publicity for Retro Tech as well. So there's a certain value in you doing that as well. So I imagine like if you can break even, make a little extra, we all have a nice time. So that would be the raffle thing.
Yeah.
So is that your intent?
Yeah, and then
at the conference
to do that, and then I'll have that go off, and then the others, like I said, I'll have the others all set up there, running at the booth, and I will have price tags on each one of those, and we're talking 180 to like. That's what I'm thinking is like 180 on these service sets to about $200 for the 13-inch ones. And then I'm not quite sure, I'm thinking 270 to 300 for the JVC. If it sits longer, I'd obviously drop the price down, but that's kind of another thing. I wanted to see what people in the chat can obviously chime in and don't feel any pressure on anything. But what do you guys feel? And I don't want like some BS, I love your stuff kind of answer. I mean, what do you feel like? I would like wonder what you think if you walked in and what would seem like a price at a show that seems kind of fair on some of like if you actually did see a CRT set up, because
wait, so break down the models for us then. This is what's important. So the 20-inch to JVC, that's a consumer set, right?
So here's the thing, they're all consumer sets except for this one. All right. Except for this one, they're all consumer sets. And obviously they're the ones, so one of them is the one I showed yesterday, which was the Toshiba 13-inch. Another one is a Magnavox 13-inch with a flat screen. And like those are really late models in the 2000s. They've been serviced. The Magnavox is actually modifiable very easily, like to add very simple mod. You can actually add component and S-video to it. So I don't have time to do it before the show. So if it comes back and I don't sell it, I can redo that at some point too. So that's not too bad. Okay. One of them is the old white Sony KV, which is from the 90s.
That thing's beautiful.
Right.
How much? Oh, fuck.
But that's not modifiable, but it's going to be all original. It's super clean, like amazing. I've cleaned it up. I've got the original remote with it. Works perfectly. Ooh, so that one will be there, and then this one, and then the JVC, like I said, the D series. Yeah, like that Snuffer Stuffer. That's what the most expensive one that I would sell would be, that serviced JVC D series, which is from the mid 2000s with the remote control. Looks great, spin adjusted and serviced.
And that's 20-inch.
And that's 20-inch. looks like a brand new tube, and like I think that $300 is probably fair on that. But that would be like the max. I would never really want to go over that. But again, it's 20 inches. It's got everything you want too, right? Built into it. Component, S-video, composite, RF, and it has an amazing menu and service menu. And it has like the flop down door that's on there. It's got full, it actually has a really interesting setup that you could do with just the speakers on it, some high-end speakers on it. So
I how to say, I think it's good. And I think it would be interesting to hear from everybody in the chat how you perceive, because my European perception of price is very different to everyone else. But if I just abstract away and say, okay, here's a high quality item. It's been serviced by a technician. There's this history. You've already, you told me what this stuff is. I think that sounds reasonable, given that someone can come and just buy it there and then. They don't have to ship. They don't have to deal with that. You came to their town and you brought them a set. So all these little things add up. That sounds like a reasonable amount, because I'm at this expo selling this. So yeah, let's sound off. We're seeing a few. 20 people solid. 300 is definitely fair. 20. Because right, it's not just 300 for any old consumer set. Steve's looked over at Steve's, and some of those options you've said, the component, S-video, that's awesome, bro.
Well, and that's kind of, so here's my idea with this thing. I mean, I do have some cost in it. So what I'm trying to do is just go and basically say, okay, I have to spend 2 to 3 hours on average in each one of these sets to go in and I mean, clean them all up and check everything out. And then I get into them and I service them individually, make the screens look good. If there was a bad part in any of them, I would change it out, right? But I go in there and I give it an overall good inspection. And if there's nothing wrong with it, and like a lot of these, they're in good shape. They don't have a lot of hours on them for consumer sets. They were just kind of parked somewhere. They're 13 inches. People back in the day didn't like live on their 13-inch TV. They had bigger ones they lived on. So the majority of them is those. I feel like that would be cool. Then somebody could literally pick one up and go carry it around with them and use it in the show. I think people that are selling stuff at a booth would probably come and buy one early on if they really wanted it, set it up in their booth. I mean, that's a smart idea to add something you could draw a little bit more attention to, I feel like. So I don't know. We'll see.
It could be. Just for the chat, to Dwight Dixon, we're talking about at the conference, not talking about shipping these.
No.
These are, you would go to the conference and Steve would be there and you would physically haul it away from the event.
Yeah, just like anything. You go to the convention, you go to a booth, and you buy something from a creator or a merchant, right? So you're going to go in, you grab it. And so that's, and again...
What were the other prices? Sorry, you had
and the other ones were between $150 to possibly $200 for those 14-inch sets, depending on the model. And... there's no way any of them would be over $200. I don't think. Sure. And again, they all do come with working remotes that come with them.
Oh, that's huge. That's great, man. Working remotes. And if anything, often I imagine at those conferences, smaller ones might also sell because, hey, I can actually carry a 14-inch 20 starting. Well, I could break my back and, you know what I mean? Like the smaller ones are actually manageable.
Yeah, and I think that there's going to be a situation, too, where a lot of these people don't live around, where they're like, I've been looking forever for a CRT, and the only one I find is either too big, it's dirty, I got to go to some creep's house and do this. Yeah, people keep asking. It has been, serviced. This does not include any recapping service because that would blow the price out of really a lot of people's budgets. There's really no point in me completely recapping these sets and then bringing them to the show and charging $500, which is what I'd have to charge for them. So just if that's what you're thinking, then just kind of drop that from your head. I might bring one, depending on the success of this, maybe next year I'd bring one that's fully serviced, fully recapped. That way somebody could buy that. Okay. So
I think we've talked a lot about this on the podcast, that the amount of work that goes into doing a cap service is very difficult to justify for a consumer set. And what I also take away from that that if you haven't replaced the caps, but you've done the visual inspections, you've looked inside, you've looked at the geometry, everything looks good. There's no bulging caps, nothing's leaking. These are late model sets in the 2000s. So it's not like some 80s thing that's got 20 years on it already.
Well, like these there's a couple, but those have been more checked with like deeper component checks with like tools and stuff. And, it's all, and there's more cleaning involved, like on some of them than others. So, yeah, right. Sorry. But just to add that.
So if you like this, it's a bit of a misconception almost that the cap replacement, like it'll like fix everything. Apparently, it makes your CRT jump up and down and, give you a blowjob at the end of the night. Like apparently that's what a cap kit does. Just everyone's really focused on, replace the caps, where I agree, for the amount of money it takes to do it, the time compared to for a 2000s consumer set, really not needed unless there's really obvious capacitor bulging going on.
Yeah, and like I said, I've inspected the tubes, and it's stuff that hasn't got a lot of hours on it. And the other thing about the consumer sets is they're spread out. They're not compact usually like PVM, so there's a lot more air flow through there. They don't tend to get as hot as others that people weren't, like, again, these smaller ones, people don't just leave them on. These things were left on, running, left on. And so that's kind of the idea for this shop. And I feel like people, in the chat are telling me most part that they feel like those aren't bad prices at all. Most people try to charge more than that for something or about that much for something that's not even been looked at, nowadays, which I feel like is kind of true. So
this is step one.
That's step one.
Step one is we're at the conference. We're going to see if we can shift a few consumer sets, do the little raffle, get a little notoriety, get a little publicity for us. If, let's say, things go okay, one or even two of the sets move, this is great success. You've sold a few of them. We got happy customers. Oh, by the way, before we move on, thank you to Jesus, the Jesus.
Yeah. Jesus Renteria. Thank you for this $5. My tongue's tied. $5 super chat. Keep it up. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that. So if that goes well, what's the next steps of the plan?
Yes. So this is awesome. I've been talking. This kind of hit me in the head a couple years back when I had a good conversation with. I stopped back in Nashville for a trip, and I met up with the Displaced Gamer, Chris, because we're buddies. I went over to his house, and his family was in town, and his dad was in town from Texas, and I just loved his dad. He's like old school guy, hilarious, great personality, and we were talking about stuff, and his like retirement side job hobby was he had numerous 2 or 3 flea market booths where he sold sporting cards and collectibles. Okay. And so in these booths, it's not a situation where you even have to be there daily. Okay. This is the way that these things work you go into a section. They're in these markets. They're either called antique markets or they're farmers markets. They're open, not all the time. You go in past a cashier and a main desk that you get checked out at. And then there's probably anywhere from 20 to 50 individual smaller sized booths. Each booth has a number, and all the inventory on the items are numbered, and you're priced right there. And like, if you find something you want and it's in a case, you go and you tell the person at the front, hey, I want to go buy this. Or if it's something that's just out that you buy, you go pick it up and you take it to the cashier and you pay for it. And then that's part of your rent. They take a small portion, they take and charge you rent for the spot, right? And he was just like, look, this has always been great for me at sports cards. It's a niche thing. But I go there and I set up like walls of cards and set it up and it just looks real cool. And there's, Lewis, there's like 50 of those places in my town. And
of these farmers market.
Yeah, that are similar to this. So I started thinking, well, I have Like, I honestly have a couple of boxes of stuff that I just don't even use. They just sitting there, collected dust, and I could really go and heck, even just having them out of this area and having them set up at prices just in a store, they might move a lot of them. They might not, right? Or whatever. I don't know how it's going to go, but I got enough inventory for sure to open up one, right? Not, and that's the other key for this other thing is it's not just CRTs. It will also have video games, gaming stuff that's extra here, specialty stuff, maybe some analog hardware, analog media, and then the CRTs also in there running, and then someone could buy those too. That's really kind of the idea on the store, because there's the overhead's extremely low, and it would kind of I think it would be something that could pay for itself and actually maybe make a little bit more money. And if it rose really well, I mean, it would be fun to like film stuff from it too, right? Film little things, promotional stuff. Be there sometimes and have people come in. I could offer an opportunity for people locally to like sell CRTs that are small. I wouldn't pay them a lot, but it's like, hey, get rid of your CRT safely and don't, get a little money. Get rid of it now. It's something, pound cables. There you go, 8-bit. 8-bit Esquire's in here talking about more scams.
Always the lawyers doing the scams, right? Because they know the way to get around it.
So I'm in a college town too, so I feel like there would be a lot of people in the college town that would be really into coming by and like buying 13-inch tubes and some games and setting up a little retro thing. It's not a completely dead space of kids and young people, thankfully. It's like a pretty lively little town. But that's kind of, that would be step 2, is going in and actually doing that.
Okay, so let's start with this. Let's try and break this down. So you said there's a bunch of these market type things. Is there one that's already in your mind that's maybe better, has similar kind of things, or in a good location? How would you pick the market?
I would say, yeah, that's the important thing. Finding out which ones, because look, all right, we never talk about this stuff because there's a reason we don't talk about this stuff, but there's no real reason for us to get in here. We're not a political show, okay? But there's, and this is whatever. I don't care about what you think. Again, this is not a political show. We're not talking about politics, but I don't think that kids are going to be hanging out so much at the like extremely markets where you've got like, you know what cornhole is? Do you know what that is? Like bag, toss onto like a board and you try to get in the hole. Well, then, one of the marketplaces will have all these cornhole things that are homemade set up, made out of this high quality wood, and they'll have like a big trump with like a machine gun on a tank going like, "Mom, man," it's like, I don't think that it's just like, it's just a little too right, too right. I'm not going right or left here. I'm trying to get more people here to come to, so I'm like, I might stay away from that location. So that's like the scouting of the locations. I want to find which ones kids will actually go to. There's one really popular one in town, but they don't do like I would have to basically open up a whole store in that one. It's not as much and it's open, but it's not like the antique thing. It would be, okay, it's really worked. That might be step 3. Okay, like if step 2 worked and it's like, wow, this is really moving, I'm getting stuff in and out, I need to have a store that's open, then we would move to this nicest place. So this is awesome. There's like a chance to do all this, right? And eventually I could make it into like, we still have a crappy 90s style mall like here, and I could eventually move to the mall, right? If this really goes well. So
okay,
but that's so the idea would be to find one of those that's more gets a lot of people, because I've been in a lot of them and there's a lack of this in the marketplace. I feel like if people knew it was there, and like, again, what happens is you're getting a bunch of kids that are going out with their family while they're in town. They're getting dragged to these marketplaces in town by their parents. If there was a place in there and they're like, holy shit, there's a game store in here full of all these cool collectibles, it would spread around. Word of mouth would go quick, I think. And I could do events on campus.
Sure.
So
Okay, so what would you expect if you pick the market that you think would be the most appropriate? You're either going to get people who are just coming through, as you say, they're already coming to the market and they think that's a thing, or then they're coming to the market specifically because they want to come and see your thing, which means you've done some marketing, you've got the word out. Maybe you can through your channel and what you do. So which one of those two do you expect the most? Do you expect people of your demographic to just be walking there, or do you expect your own channels to educate them so then they will specifically go to that market for you?
Well, that's kind of like the hard thing to really nail down, I think, anytime, is like, what's the actual marketplace like? What's actually out there? Who's the actual buyers in this? Are they spending money? There is like another video game store in town, and a couple other places. However, I'm also thinking that this could turn into some kind of a community thing where you would end up with a lot of regulars who are in this town who are into this kind of thing. And if there was like a hangout spot, like when I was growing up, there was like a comic shop, or, you'd go down there and you'd hang out, and but there'd have to be more space for that. And that becomes a full retail place then. So it's an interesting thought. I do think that since it's something also that's so unique, you would never know exactly what I had in inventory. That's going to be something that's going to make a lot of people really want to check it out, because it'd be different inventory all the time.
And what will you explain again, the concept that you don't need to be there all the time, that the stuff can be on display and someone could just take it? Will that work? First of all, how do they do it? Like if you're selling a game, how do they do it that I'm not going to steal it? Because usually a game is in a cabinet in a regular store.
So you're basically renting it. They have cabinets, right? You could say it's different packages. It's like, okay, I want to rent that booth. I'll take the display cases over there that you have available. So bundle that all together. And the only thing that would be like big items that they can't sneak out with, like a boxed console, But most items probably would be items that they would have to go get for you. And again, it's like you're walking into a market, and the person who owns the place is the one who has the register, and they're just basically facilitating a market. They're like saying, yeah, all these people paid for their spots. You just go pick. If you want one item, I have a master key. I go open that display. I pull it out. We go ring you up.
Mm-hmm. Okay, this is good. So,
we got another super chat from Demo Kirby for $2. Thank you, Demo. College Town, consider a buyback biz model. Yeah, absolutely. Sure. And so that would be another cool thing. Imagine if it was like, yeah, if you really don't like this CRT, if somebody was like that, you could take it for a couple of years, and eventually I'd buy it back from you or something. If you really didn't like it, you could always sell it back, right? So it's got a GameStop style model in there. And also I'd be buying things, inventory.
Of course, you'd be out there. Well, that might be a knock-on effect. People would know you're the guy, so maybe people will come to you more often.
Right.
And you'll be
you could schedule something there, or like the person working, I could, if there's a question, they could call me. And most of the time, if it's daytime, I could be there in 20 minutes if it's something really important. 8-Bit.
I don't know.
8-Bit says goodbye. He says he's out of lunchtime.
Okay. He's got to go back. He's got the tie on.
He's got some kind of important case probably to take care of. And
what else?
Hey guys, could we just I hate to ask you all, if you haven't done so already, please give us a like for the conversation. I enjoy everybody's input, but please, if you help us out, give us a like, and we can keep the conversation going and get some more people coming in as the show rolls on later, because if you've missed it so far, we've been talking for a good half an hour about the business model on how to open a successful, wonderful CRT business. Hey, look at this. There's great. I like some of these. I love some of these ideas. Dwight Dixon said a rental store. That's not even a bad idea in itself. There are situations where I'm sure promotion. Imagine that, getting promotional companies involved and asking. That will be a part of this business model. I feel like having a storefront can really help this grow, right? I mean, if we could do this right, it's right. and then it's just got to be. It adds legitimacy. I need a way to have some way to get more revenue and have people working here, especially if I get some crazy ass job like the museums are having me bid for. I'm going to need more help. A video game cafe. Yeah, I mean, that kind of thing could be in there too. That would obviously be, as you grow, you have a little bit of an area. You'd have some stuff set up like this. And then you just like have it all set up. When they cut the power on, it comes on automatically. You don't even have to have anybody there.
Okay, so I'll present another idea to you, Steve, just to get us thinking. As a comparison, just to get us thinking. What would be the difference if you instead just set up a really great online catalog? And I don't mean online store. I don't mean specifically that I can click and get it shipped, but I've just got a great online catalog. You use all your online resources to make sure everyone knows about it, and they can come and pick it up from you if they're in your area. If they're going to drive to that, they may as well drive to your place or whatever. Like, what would be worse about having an online catalog with all this info instead?
Well, I mean, this is like, so that's obviously the less risky way because you're eliminating overhead and you're not taking a leap. But I'm going to be, I don't know, man. This just goes back again to that stupid thing we're all chasing nostalgia. And to me, I always like being like a broke, poor kid from a broken home growing up. One of the places I loved to go was a store like this, but it was more of a place that had like arcade games, video games, comic books, and then like Magic the Gathering. And actually this was right when Pokemon cards were starting. All this was going on and stuff. And that was like a haven, like safe spot, way running away. And I really loved just that store. And I often think how many great memories I have just going in there on the weekend, wasting all the time there. And I know it's probably not the best business model, right? To have people just hanging out in your store like that. But I feel like people miss out on a lot of that stuff. And I know that for perspective, like hanging out with you in the chat is awesome. And even like this experience of us together, the live shows, there's something so much more special about being able to connect with people personally. I mean, you could really make people like have friends in real life and like change lives. And it's as cheesy and stupid and as corny as I'm sounding like right now, which I'm sure somebody's laughing at me. Like, look at this moron. That's the only thing that will save the future, is getting people to come together on something they absolutely love, that's not divisive, it's not harmful, and it's something they can connect with each other on. And like, you know, I don't know. That's my silly rambling.
Okay, I have a thought for you. Another way to think about this, or an experience from myself. So I've talked a lot. My still current business, what I was previously doing mostly, is promoting stand-up comedy shows. So we have a group of comedians and people want to come and see them. So we book a venue that might be a theater or that might be a cafe, or we do it at a pub or something. And then if it's a bigger show, we're selling tickets, and that's how the money gets made. And there's some expenses. Maybe you got to pay rent. Maybe I got to buy some lights or something, you know. And then there's some expenses, and then the money gets divided up. And in Estonia, we've always found venues. So what's the new cafe that's cool, that's got a nice space that's appropriate? What's an appropriate little theater that holds 50 people, holds 100?
1 second. Sorry, Lewis. Mm-hmm. Hold the fort down for me. I don't know what's going on. I think my daughter turned the water on. I'm going to go check.
Of course. No
and
problem.
We got a super chat from Robert.
I'll talk to Robert.
Thank you.
And you go
Thank you very much. Yeah, let me go check. Cole's going crazy. Right. Yeah, because I don't know. I'll be right back.
No problems. Robert, thank you very much for the super chat. Now, Robert, you're in Sweden, aren't you, my friend? I saw over there. I'm just down here in Estonia. And you said you had a price. I saw there. You said how much the PVM was going to cost. So a PVM 604, which is like the small one. Wait, is that the 604 is the really small one? Like the I think it's the equivalent of the 5-inch in America. I think I've got 3 or 4 of those in my storage room. And they wanted 800. Look, I would totally believe that. All retro shit is super expensive in Scandinavia. I follow 1 or 2 stores in Finland, also very, very expensive. Anything in Stockholm, super very expensive. So I can understand why it will be so expensive. Right, as Robert said, the 5 to 6 inch ones. The reason we're saying 5 or 6 inch is that I don't know why, but there seems to be a discrepancy in the sizing between NTSC and PAL, or let's say American and European units, because Steve talks about the 13-inch PVMs, but I've got the 14-inch. It's the same PVM. And Steve talks about the 8-inch model, where I've got the 9. And I think in the American models are called the 8.0, like it's PVM 8.0 or BVM 8.0. And the one that I have, the European ones that I have, they're 9.0. 9044D is the one I have. So maybe someone in the chat can shed a bit of light on why there's a naming discrepancy. It took me ages to work out. I was like, why is every set 1 inch smaller in America? I don't know what's up with that. Robert was saying even the really small one. Robert, I'll tell you what, mate, if you ever come over to Estonia, I'll sell you one for $50 or whatever, cheap. I've got a bunch of them because I'm never gonna really use a 5-inch. It's kind of cool. It would be quite cool. I was thinking maybe to have a few of them lined up here or something, kind of getting that cool effect. But I sometimes will play on the 9-inch. But I don't think I'm really going to play on the 5-inch, on the 6-inch one. So thank you. Okay, next up is Smasher Josh with £2. Thank you very much, sir. Thoughts on widescreen CRTs? I've got one with a curved screen. What sort of thoughts, sir? The widescreen CRTs, it's starting to get into murky territory because they're often HD CRTs as well. And this is where we need to look very carefully at each particular model. I don't know, Steve will know this better than me, but I'm not sure there are not many like 15 kilohertz, 240p widescreen CRTs. I think there's not many of those. Usually they're able to do a little bit higher as well, 480p, 720p. And the important thing with those larger ones is you need to find the native resolution of it, which it may not say. So this comes from investigations that Mr. Shank from Shank Mods was doing, where he was trying Time Sleuth on a HD CRT and trying like 480i, 480p, 720, and he was finding I forget which one it was, 480p had super low lag. 720p, lots of lag. 1080i, lots of lag. 240p, horrible. But the one resolution that the screen was like native at was actually quite low lag. So
hilarious.
The HDC, and then to combine all of that, it's very hard to know without looking at the units. So you got to hold this bloody thing around the place. So the ideal circumstance is to have a Time Sleuth or some sort of device to measure the lag on the different resolutions so you can understand it well. So Smash is saying the 32-inch variant, right, you'd really need to look at the individual model number to be able to understand what is the different resolutions, because there's quite a variance in the HD CRTs.
Excellent. Thanks for holding it down. Yeah, sounds silly. You're a man who knows heating oil. So I'm in the basement and I've got my 500-gallon heating oil tank right behind me. And I'm sitting here, the dog's barking when you're talking to me, and then sounds like there's a gigantic hose flowing water out the house. And it's literally, I look out and it's the guy, he's pouring, gallons of fuel into the tank, and that's why it's sloshing and sounded. So I had... Anyway, had to go pay him for the heating oil.
Oh, yeah. But before you do that, also to Mickey in the chat, you said you're also in Sweden, mate. and props for movies and commercials, video walls for events. Is that something you do, Mickey? Is that a service that you're offering in Sweden? Sorry, I didn't understand from the chat. Just because I'm really close and I've got a bunch of monitors. I would love to do something like that. How do you do it? Who are you marketing to? Event companies or production companies? If you are doing something like that, tell us all about it. So, okay, Steve, things are... where we'll go and talk about the CRTs, the shop. Okay. I was telling you my analogy of stand-up comedy, and that we're a bunch of independent comedians. We choose the venue that we want to go to. Now, people then inevitably say, hey, why don't you make a comedy club? Why don't you make the club where you can go and, it's a comedy club, like you would know, with the brick wall at the background and tables and the whole thing, and get the whole experience. Why don't you do that? Why you pay rent? And I said, I don't want to do that, because what I want to do is sell tickets. That's my business. Selling tickets. And when I run a venue, I've got to run a pub, basically. I got to pay rent. I got to stock a bar. All of a sudden, I'm selling drinks. I'm slinging drinks. Maybe I got to sell some food. There's a kitchen. Oh, my God. It's a completely different business model. And I realized I had no love for running a venue. If I'm going to run a venue, I'm going to run a venue. I'm not going to try and do both at once. And so it was better for me to be more flexible, choose the venue I want to go from there. So my point, to relate it back to you, is I wonder, Steve, rather than making your own market, if one of these if some existing place was open to you having a corner, a place like where you don't need to build the rest of the culture. So I'm thinking maybe one of the retro game stores, I know nothing about them, I'm talking out of my bum, but maybe they would love to have a bunch of those CRTs set up. People can play them. The staff maybe even know a bit about them. You don't have to be there. Maybe now and then, maybe they take a commission. Who knows? You'd have to work that out. Or some sort of cafe, a pub, some sort of place where they could be set up and people can play them. My point is to find a place where you can exhibit your wares, and the place is creating more atmosphere so you don't have to do all of that yourself.
Yeah, that would be... there's another thing I should tell you. There's already a couple places in town that have a bunch of like arcades in them, like these barcade style thingies. And so the thing I'm thinking is you're right. I think there would be an opportunity to cross market with them if you open up. I feel like if you go, it's always like this, right? If you go, oh, hey, I've got all these things in my garage, or if I go, hey, I got this store down here at the flea market. You don't say flea market, but down here at the blank market, I've got a store there. Let's do some marketing together or something. Or I'll show up to your next event with CRTs that people come in and do things. The only reason, the reason I know that I think that the thing about the, and that's what I've got to get this priced out. But some of these flea markets or these markets that I'm talking to you about, mm-hmm. I don't see them. They're going to start at like $200, which is about twice as much as it costs me to have the same size of storage space in town. Right?
Wait, sorry. Now we're talking about the
overhead costs, right? So this is going to be an easy thing to jump into, and again, not to have to have a lot of overhead. And it would also, on the flip side, if it goes completely awful and nobody ever shows up after a couple months, you're not out that much money, and you could just close it down. You're not locked into a long lease, and you could just say, okay, that really didn't work, or what happened? Why didn't it work? Hey, Super Guy, CRT, got the $19.99 super chat. Thank you, buddy. Just received the Color Watchman. All right. Thank you for sending it in and leaving it with me for like 6 months. Also, thank you for the stickers. You're welcome. That's like some of the very last few stickers I have left anymore, unfortunately. I've actually been talking with Bob's guy, Ariel, about, and I'm going to meet with him soon after this convention, about merchandise and things for more stickers. So
that'd be cool. I'd love some of those stickers. So thanks very much, Super Super guy, appreciate that. $20. That goes a long way. So, okay, so so if we go to the idea of the market, which, okay, I'm always searching for what they say is the MVP, the minimum viable product. What is the least thing that we can do to get it going, prove the concept, and then iteratively move forward bit by bit? So the markets are good because the rent's super low, and you were sort of implying that the rent that you'd pay is like half of storage anyway, so you're sort of offsetting your storage cost. Did I understand that?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like there's so many of those markets around here that the options are very much gonna vary. I mean, you could pay more to be at a nicer place, or again, you can kind of get this started and rely more on grassroots movement and marketing and really cheaping it out. And it's literally double the cost of my storage facility. That's the same. It's probably a smaller booth inside the storage unit. But storage is expensive around here because it's a college town. And so that kind of storage space is at a premium. Whereas there's a lot of antiques and a lot of antique stores in the area, but there's so many of them, they're relying on a lot of small business owners like me. And there's just, it's an influx and outflux. I see booths opening all the time available. And it's not open every day. They're open like 4 days a week generally, right? Because it's not. So it's controlled expense. I think that with my items I would be putting in there, they're going to be on an average where it would only take 2 items to move to cover. Right? Like I'm going to bring a lot of like high-end video games that are going to be $100 a piece that are original, like GameCubes and extra things like that, consoles. Items are going to be, you might have some small little things on the shelf, but most items are going to be that higher end item in there for that simple reason too.
All right, one way, so this is good. You're investigating that, you're looking into that. At this stage, because you're not committed to anything, you can keep looking around, looking at the options. The other idea that I was talking about, where you find some existing place, whether that's a retro store, whether that's a bar, cafe, I don't know, I'm not sure. You find some existing place where you can put your wares into. I think that idea possibly has the potential to be more powerful only if you find the partner that's super switched on. So if you go to the retro game store and they're like, yeah, but it's going to cost you $100 for the No. But if you go down to the retro game store and this guy's, fuck yeah, hell yeah, I want this in my store. If he sees the opportunity of having your CRTs there, he's like, I can already see it. At the back, we're going to set them up. Everyone's going to come in. It's going to be a place. I'm going to take a little cut, but mostly I appreciate you having the set. If he's totally switched on, I'd be like, oh, that's the one I want to do. But it's real. Or a cafe owner who sees your vision. So this means you've got to hustle a little bit and use that Steve charm.
I know.
Do a bit of networking, feelers out. If you find that person, I mean, maybe not, but if you did, that would be straight up the win.
Yeah, you're right. And then, so the self-elected was asking about inventory. There's surprisingly, it's just if there's a need, I can always go find. And again, my situation is I would like, what am I going to do? No one's going to come in 1 month, and a good month. What are they going to do? Buy 5 CRTs?
Yeah, Steve's got plenty of inventory.
Don't worry. I would have inventory for like 6 months without buying another CRT. And all I would really, if it got to that point, this is what you do. I would literally go in and just add more value to those CRTs and increase the cost on them. That would just be it. It would become a situation where they're fully recapped, brand new caps. And here's another thing I know to do. We all know this now. It's so cool with modern stuff. You can, I could put just a little note card on top of the monitor and have a QR code that goes directly to a website that's a Google Drive folder and has all the information about said CRT, what's been done to it without even having to be there. right? You just have a little QR code up there to just scan it, and they can see everything about it. The whole thing would be full of QR codes. Check out the YouTube channel. Check out the specialist. Blah blah blah. But I also, the thing again is it's like you say, time to get out there and try to promote this. I've already got so much. Like I've got so many CRT jobs in the shop right now. It's unreal, and the list is at least 20 still. It stays around 20 solid people or CRTs waiting to come in and things like that.
I mean, I love the idea of the QR code idea, that if you don't have somebody there, because ordinarily if there was a shopkeep there all the time, they're the ones who can be like, well, let me tell you all about this model, and super knowledgeable shopkeep who can tell you all that. But if the model is that person is going to be around, the QR code listing to the document, which has got your service history, pictures, the whole thing, this is awesome. This is giving me, if I've never heard of Steve, I'm like, who's this nutter guy? Sounds weird. What's going on? This gives me some satisfaction, some feeling, some comfort that this is, something credible, something good, that why am I spending a couple $100, and the proof of the service, which is really your value in this case. What was my next point? I forgot. So the QR codes are great.
Yeah.
This is a very good thing. Okay, so then let's take even a few steps back here. What is your intent? You're taking a few steps back because, as you say, your time is valuable. You don't have that much time. You need to earn a little bit more, find a new income stream, find a new revenue stream. It's very normal for any business to want to do that. And there's always a balance when a business goes into a new area, a new income stream, that we need to prioritize our time. So, of course, you want to be doing the thing that makes Steve the most money. But any new income stream at first takes some time. You got to hustle a bit to get it going.
Oh, yeah.
There's always that balance that I know it won't bring me so much at first, but I've got this vision. I think we're going somewhere with this, that in a year, in 18 months, in 24 months, this then will be a reasonable income stream. So you've got to balance those two off too.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's other ideas like how to get, again, even if I'm charging the rate I want to charge, and I'm sitting here fixing CRTs 40, 50 hours a week paid, you get to a point where it's like, well, that's just, at the end of this time, you're still limiting yourself kind of, because you can't do all these other things. You can't expand, and you're hitting the expansion wall. So you do have to find a new way. The reason I need new revenue is simple as I need to either find a it's like again, the next level of expansion for something is more people working for you, having a way, that you got to have somebody to be able to do that, and then a space for that kind of, right? So I don't know,
no, you're any business needs to expand. And look, you got a family. Families take unlimited amounts of money in this day and age. So you've got to look after your family.
Yeah.
You need to expand a little bit. Now, this is a topic that we've spoken about before, and I'm glad we can revisit it again, that at the difficulty with being a specialist like yourself, while it's also amazing, is that your time is limited. And your ability to generate income right now is a factor of your time, hours in the day. And I can see what you need to do. You need to create a way that it's not so limited to hours in the day. So is that hiring someone else? And I know we went through all that in a different conversation. Is that good? Or is there some other way, if we're selling, all right, if I can get sets out the door and to sell them? I wonder as well, could I don't know here, the selling of this, there's the fixing and the selling. And now I've got this idea in my mind. They're kind of two separate businesses a little bit. Steve is the expert. Steve has the technical knowledge. It'll probably still be you fixing the CRTs for a while.
It would take like literally a passionate apprentice relationship to be able to get somebody in here. It's like a blacksmith, you got to get somebody almost to come in here and train under you and learn these it's a unique kind of skill. It doesn't
Right.
isn't used normally.
So that's the tricky part there. But then if we say the CRT selling is a separate business, now that's something that actually someone could step into a little bit more. It is possible. And now whatever that is, whether that's online selling, whether it's a storefront, whether someone's setting up this amazing U-Haul shipping network, I don't know. I'm just thinking that the selling of the CRTs is a business, a part of the business where someone else could help you, seems to be.
Yeah, I would. I mean, it's better to just to, because we'll have to round this thing up pretty soon here. To kind of give an encompassing like idea, it's at least it's better to be in this kind of a business mode, because this is not what most businesses are in right now. You know, a lot of businesses are struggling at this time, at least in like bigger businesses. But I'm glad that I'm at a point where I'm trying to creatively think of and have the ability to possibly expand this wild idea. Right? I mean, cool. It's always going to be unique. It's always going to be different. There's always going to be naysayers to it, because there always have been. But there's also a bunch of surprising people, and I don't think it takes as much. I feel like a lot of times once you get those, you know how it is, you get that thing built and it starts going, and it's like, wow, looking back on it, it was a ton of work, but now it might be something that you're like, holy crap, now it's almost its own thing, that self-sustainability on that end of that business part, right? Where it's again, hopefully it becomes something like that. It's like now I'm not the kind of guy that has to go out and like promote myself as a CRT repair person with any kind of anything, because that's gone to the point where that's beyond that, where I have, people come to me because I've built that. Like you say, I built that. It took 5-6 years to build that. And, like I say, another 5 years from now, you'd be like, wow, it was really a risk worth taking that worked out. And then what are we thinking about on the next end? So
I think having help, in the sales, I think there is a potential to have, whether that's brick and mortar, whether that's some sort of amazing distribution network that you've got to sell these CRTs. And then I think for you, the question is, how do we bootstrap this? How do I because I think your time is really valuable, and I'd be really worried about taking lots of your time away to develop this other business, even though you have to develop some. Sure, we can't just do that forever, but there's still the moment, and we've still got to make money in this moment as well as building for the future. So if there's some way someone can come on board, or somehow someone wants to be associated to help grow that part of the business, that would be my first thought about where to look. Because that could be, because I don't think, is there a place where like I can buy CRTs anywhere in the States? Like anywhere?
I mean, yeah, I don't know, right? A couple of maybe, but not so much. Right?
So there's something there.
Shark Tank.
Use to say this is the place to come and buy CRT,
right,
either from this location, or we've got these amazing shipping options, and here's the thing. So yeah, man, I love it. There's this potential, that there's this hope, these ideas. This is the stuff that gets me excited. Good, man.
Well, thanks. Yeah, well, the good thing is we'll get to get some real live feedback with the first part of all this with my booth. That won't cost me anything, because I've worked that out, and I'll be able to see whether I'll get some ideas from the public. Whew. Got a little gas there from my fizzy water, but all right, guys, I'm getting texts here. I gotta round today's show up, and I just want to say thanks again, Zez, for coming on, and you'll have to come back, and we'll talk some more. We'll follow up on this topic.
Absolutely. As soon as there's some day, I'll hang out in the stream as much as you'll have me.
Absolutely.
Just because it's easier as well. We don't great. I don't care if we're talking on my stream. Your stream,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. We'll get back to more regular sightings of Zez for
it's just
the
day.
winter.
It's just working out the time, and
That's exactly
as soon as I'm free at the same time you're streaming, and I need to take more effort to catch in with you and be like, hey man, are you streaming today? I need to ask that a bit more, but I'm really happy to be here. So many people. What have we got? 50 people watching now. This is awesome.
This is awesome. We have a lot of fun. Daytime television, baby. We're bringing it back. Bringing it back,
and
folks.
Lots of good contributions. We really appreciate Belmont. Thank you much for helping out as an
Absolutely.
admin. Lots of good feedback. Like, you guys have been really good with the thoughts today.
Absolutely, yes. Thank you so much, everybody. I really appreciate you today. Go if you, I know probably is, but definitely go check out Zez. We didn't even get to his recent interview. It's still like I've started about 15 minutes in it, and so next time I'll catch up on that. But yeah, he has a great interview right now, brand new over on the channel. You want to say anything quickly about that before I jump off?
Just if you're interested in PSIO, if you've got that PSIO adapter for the original PlayStation 1, I had an interview with a guy who made a custom firmware. The creator of the PSIO didn't like that, sent him legal threats. Woo! Classic retro gaming drama. And I do a deep dive podcast hearing the story of the guy who wrote the custom firmware and got the legal threat. So check that out on my channel. Appreciate that. And thanks everyone. For,
definitely watch that. And guess what? You're also going to get two of the most amazing accents on the internet combining. Okay, that's all I'll tell you. All right, everybody. Thank you all so much. I will see you all next time in the bunker. I don't know. Depending on what happens tomorrow, there may be a Thursday episode, but I am getting packed up for the show. We'll see what happens. I hope I do get to see you. But everybody, thank you again. Thanks again, Zez. All righty.